Hey there, just a quick video before today's episode. I felt like I needed to clarify, explain a couple of things. Last episode, I did ask if anybody wanted to see the map of this subsector I've been having Anselm adventure through and some of the notes about it. A lot of people said yes. I did mention it at the end of the episode. It was kind of like a throwaway line, so I want to make sure you did understand, yes, it is there. If you look down in the description, you will find a link to a Google Drive, and you'll find 3 files there. First of all is a map of the subsector, and it is color-coded: green for the region that is controlled by the Imperials, and then purple for the region that is controlled by the Andorians. There's another version of the map without the color coding, so just the trade routes, communication routes, information about where the naval bases are, scout bases, all that kind of good stuff. And then the last is a PDF with my notes. It is basically just an exported PDF from a Notion page where I have notes about all the different planets, their UPP, and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, want to make sure that you did know that was available down. Check that link out, and hope you enjoy that. And with that being said, on with the episode. Hi there, it is Ed, and welcome to episode 23 of the solo adventures of Anselm using Classic Traveler. Last time, as you recall, Anselm had left the custody of the Imperial Navy thanks to the assistance of Terajah, and he was able to get away and get to a very small little trade hub on Hesia Prime. While he was there, he was able to secure employment as a pilot on a small trader ship that was loading up for grain and heading out to other parts of the subsector. However, while Anselm was there, he was recognized by Wren, the pirate captain that at one time was in conflict with Simon the Diplomat, both looking for this mind control device. It was a bit of a twist then when Simon is in league and working now with Wren, the pirate captain. And Wren has told Simon that he has seen Anselm on this planet at this very trade depot. What will happen next? Let's find out as we rejoin Anselm. Yes, it's been a bit since the last episode. I actually looked on the YouTube channel. It said it had been 2 months since the last episode. So, as I may have said before, I think I've said before, summer is a very, very busy time for my puppet company. I have lots of shows, traveling a lot, and I always have this foolish notion that, well, after summer starts and the show's on, I'm not developing the show, rehearsing the show, selling the show, I'll have all this extra free time. I want to get done a day of, driving several hundred miles, setting up a set, performing, taking it down, doing it again, and coming home. I'm exhausted. I really don't have a lot of energy left to do much else. So that's one of the reasons why you haven't seen a video in a while. So thank you for your patience for that. And then I got sick. So if you may hear I'm sounding a little sinusy, I'll try to edit out anything terribly gross. Thank you. So that being said, let's find out exactly what is going to happen to Anselm and what do Simon and Wren get up to. First things first, though, I do need to update my chaos factor and my lists. So first of all, the chaos factor is 7. Even though Wren and Simon showed up at the end of the last episode, I kind of feel like everything went Anselm's way. He was able to get away from the Imperial Navy and being whatever incarceration they was going to impose on him. So I'm going to say the chaos factor goes down to 6. And then we update our threads. I do feel like I need to put a thread of avoid capture because he is now a fugitive, much like his dad. So we will add a thread of avoid capture to our threads list. And I don't necessarily think there should be any other characters. I don't think any other characters really popped up to be part of the story. I did add Terajah, though, last episode. She's going to stay on there. So with that, we do return to Anselm, who has secured a position as a pilot on the merchant ship Juanerin. Juanerin is the name of the ship. I don't know why I was making it so difficult. Juanerin. Wren has seen them. Now, here's a question. Has there been a notice, some sort of APB put out on the newswire about Anselm escaping? Or have they put out a, be on the lookout for this individual kind of thing? I don't know. Let's see. I'm going to say it's likely they would have. It's been it's a short amount of time. I'm going to say 50-50. With a chaos factor of 6, 65% chance or less that, yes, they have put out an alert that they do have a fugitive. 38, yes. Yes, they have put out an alert, and they have said that there is a fugitive. They said his name is Anselm, former scout. They have a picture of him, and they have said that he has escaped from Imperial custody. If you see him, contact local authorities, all that stuff. Have they said that he was in company of psionic individuals? Because we found out the government and possibly maybe a lot of the people in this part of the subsector not really keen on psionics. So have they said that? I'm going to say that's very unlikely. I don't think they would start with that. I don't think. Let's find out. The dice will tell us. 0-1. Yes. Yeah. In fact, I'm going to say not only have they said that he is known for consorting with psionic individuals, I'm going to say he is charged. They have put out the idea that he is actually aiding and abetting horrible psionic individuals to... he's transporting psionic individuals across planetary boundaries, or something like that. They have actually maybe drummed up exactly what he's done. They've exacerbated his dangerousness. So, oh yeah, I'm going to say, yeah, so do not approach Anselm. He may have psionic abilities. He may, make your head explode, or he's got horrible powers, or yeah, something like that. So yeah, maybe he has powers, but he is consorting and is helping psionic individuals. So yeah, they have definitely said that. So trying to, if people see him, make them kind of afraid. So with that being said, then Anselm definitely has not given his real name to get his position on the Honerin. Yeah, so that's what's going to happen. If you remember, I said last time they being the ships, they load up these little trade hubs where all the farmers bring in their livestock, whatever they've created, and then you load up there, you go to the starport, and from the starport you go to your jump position where you can jump to another system. So that is what's happening. So they have loaded up, they have gotten ready to go. Here's another question, just because I feel like they have the Imperials with their notice of Anselm being a wanted fugitive, and they've kind of played at the whole psionic, the what am I trying to say? The link to psionic individuals. Does anybody recognize him? I'm going to say I'm actually going to say unlikely, which is actually a 50-50 shot. Has anybody recognized Anselm? 44! Yes. And doubles, which is random event. I need to come up with a graphic that says random event, something like that. Don't expect that anytime soon, but I should do that. All right, what is our random event? Oh, heavens. My goodness. All right, I secretly love random events. Don't tell anybody. What is our random event focus? What is the focus of this random event? 87. It is current context. Okay, so it's something that happens within the current context of being at the little trade hub and Anselm getting a job. And what is the action? The action is 85, strange, and 28. Strange expectation. All right, so someone has recognized him. So first of all, we know that's happened. Someone has recognized him, and it brings forth a random event in the current context, and it is a strange expectation. Okay, I have an idea. Okay, I think this is what happened. So Anselm has not given them his real name. What name did he give? Let's just roll real quick on the D66 compendium. Character names, a Villani male name. We will roll, again, D66, hence the D66 companion, and we will say that white is the first number. So what do we get? 2323. He said his name is Darius. Yeah, his name is Darius. He's given them the name. I'm Darius. I'm quite an accomplished pilot. So Darius does do all of his pre-flight checks. They do head out. They are heading from the little trade depot in Dayton, I believe I said the town was, to the actual starport. As they were going, the captain of the ship, who I named Captain Wagner, comes up to him. Everyone else, the engineer, the navigator, everybody else is doing their job around the ship. It's just the captain and Anselm. He says, well, Darius, I'm very glad we found you and have had you part of the crew. I was quite concerned we would not find a qualified pilot, but the fact that we have you here, I'm sure things are looking up for us. Anselm says, well, I certainly hope so. I'm just trying to provide a service, and I'm so glad that you guys are heading sort of to the other planets. So just, yeah, worked out great for everyone. He says, yes. He goes, in fact, Captain Wren says, Captain Wagner, rather, says, yes, I believe perhaps things might work out a bit better for us if you had certain, let us say, contacts. And Anselm was a bit taken aback by that and says, I'm sorry, contacts? He says, yes, perhaps someone if they knew individuals who are trying to get around places without too much Imperial entanglements, perhaps they would pay a premium to board as passengers with very few questions asked, you see. And Anselm says, possibly. I'm not sure I could really help. And Captain Wagner says, are you sure you couldn't help, Anselm? Anselm goes white, gets a little nervous, beads of sweat form on his head. He's searching for something to say when Captain Wagner kind of says, please do not worry, Anselm, your secret is safe with me. However, if you were involved in transporting certain psionic individuals, as the rumors are abound, perhaps we could work out an arrangement. I would be more than happy. I'm more than happy to help poor psionic individuals, those poor maligned individuals, to get certain places. Of course, there would be a nominal fee involved. Anselm says, look, I was around one person, so it's not like I'm doing this as a job. I don't know what they've said. Apparently, they've put out a notice on me. I'm just trying to get to another part of space. I'm just trying to find my dad. Okay, he is out there somewhere, and I've got to find him. And Captain Wagner says, of course, we're all looking for something, aren't we, Anselm? And of course, I am looking for, not to be put it so crassly or crudely, but I'm looking for profit. Of course, as you might imagine, it does cost a lot to keep up a ship of this quality. And he looks around, and of course, how old is this ship? Let's roll. Let's see. I'm going to roll a D6. It's a 40 years old. It's a 40-year-old ship. So, yeah, just broken in. Just working as it should. So, yeah, Captain Wagner saying, just keep this in mind, Anselm, or should I say, Darius. Yes, if you do find anyone looking for a transport with very few questions asked, of course, remember Captain Wagner and the I screwed it up again. Juanerin. And the Juanerin. Remember Juanerin. I personally can't remember the name of my ship, but you should, Anselm. And tell everyone, tell your friends. Anyway, so yeah, that is what happens. I'm going to say, well, that's what the random event is. So he knows Anselm is there, and he's trying to get Anselm to give him some business on the side. I think you know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, all right, so I think that they are traveling. They are heading that way. I sort of feel like they go up pretty high to do this. So I need to do my expected scene. My expected scene is that they are going to the starport, and my expected scene is that while they are going to the starport, the Anastasia, with Captain Wren and Simon, is going to try to intercept them. That is my expected scene, but we have to test that. So let's see. We do need to roll a d10, and I rolled a 10, which is over the chaos factor, which means the expected scene does happen. So yes, the Juanerin is heading to the starport. While that is happening, the Anastasia does fall in behind them, which is not necessarily a strange thing, nothing to really cause any alarm, because, again, the ships, the traders, they go to the hubs, and then they go to the starport. So the fact that there's another trading ship behind them is no cause for alarm. However, I do think it's cause for alarm when they start gaining on them. I feel like Anselm would probably notice that, and I think he would tell Captain Wagner. He'd say, Captain, the other ship is really starting to close the distance between the two of us. And I think Captain Wagner would say, well, just keep an eye on it there, Mr. Darius. Making sure not to blow his cover. Keep an eye on that ship, Mr. Darius. As I've said before, ships have a transponder. They send out coded information so you can identify ships. And pirates will turn those off. Do they have their transponder on at the moment? I'm going to say 50-50 because I do not know. That is a 65% chance or less that, yes, they do have their transponder on. 97, no, they do not, which is actually more suspicious. It could be a problem. It could be like a mechanical electronic issue, or this is something a pirate would do to make sure you don't know that they're a pirate before you get there. So it does set Anselm, it does put him on guard. And he does tell the captain that they do not have any transponder information coming from them. Captain Magno says, I see, Mr. Darius. Well, just keep an eye on it. Be vigilant as we do continue on our way to the starport. I'm going to say they get closer, and I'm going to say they power up their weapons. I'm going to say that the Anastasia is going to take a very aggressive stance to make sure the Honeran knows that they are there. So, I'm going to just say that happens. They do power up their weapons. The Anastasia has a beam laser, and so it is powered up. And I will say that they have been scanning, they've been monitoring this ship just because it is so close. And we do have, let's see, the medic, we have a gunner, we have an engineer, captain, a navigator, and then we have Anselm. I'm going to say Anselm would be the person that was scanning that and would know that. So, yeah, I'm not going to make him roll for that because they want the ship, the Honeran, to know that they are powering up their beam laser. So, does not have to make a roll, and Anselm does say, Captain, they are powering up weapons. And the captain says, I believe we should take full evasive action, Mr. Anselm. Mr. Darius. Sorry, didn't mean to blow your cover there, Anselm. Anyway, so they are going to try to get away. Now, I also feel at this point that Ren is going to send a message trying to get a hold of them. Does that happen before they can do their evasive maneuvers? Let's find out. Let's see. Again, that's 50-50. 65% chance or less. 91, no, they are going to go in full, not attack mode, but avoidance mode while they do that. So, I need to get Cepheus Deluxe. So, if you remember the last time we did any kind of space combat, which was with this exact same ship, the Anastasia, I did use the Cepheus Deluxe rules rather than the normal classic Traveler rules, because I like these a lot better, and I like the abstractness of them. So, we are going to see what they need to do do some fancy flying to get away from there. Let's see. All right, 131. There are a lot of different versions of the Cepheus rules. I'm using the Cepheus Deluxe Enhanced Edition from Stella Gamma. I like this. I've got a few others. This is the only one I have in print or in the hardback in a printed copy. I like this one a lot. I think it's a good one. The other ones are great too, but I do particularly like this one. So, let's go here. And Anselm is working as the pilot. Attack vector, dock, disengage, evasive maneuvers. Okay, so, first of all, I think we have to decide, if I remember correctly, we need to decide who has position. I'm going to say there is no surprise. So, let me take a step back. Space Combat, page 131 in Cepheus Deluxe Enhanced Edition. First of all, we need to see if we've detected other vessels. Yes, the Anastasia wants the Honeran to know they're there. Next is surprise. No surprise again. They want them to know they're there. So we need to roll for position, which is D6 plus piloting skill, plus their dexterity dice modifier, plus their ship's current maneuver drive thrust number. So, I'm going to say the current drive thrust number is the same. They are both in trading ships. So I'm going to say that's a little bit of a wash there. But we do have Anselm. Anselm's piloting is a 1. His modifier for his dexterity at a 4, I believe, is a -1. All right, so that's going to take care of his ability as the pilot, or his skill as the pilot. So let's roll one of these, and we get a 1. All right. And we have the other pilot. The pilot on the Anastasia is actually Ren. He is the pilot of his crew. So he has pilot of 1. He has dexterity of A, which is a +1. So he has a +2 on this roll. He's going to beat Anselm. Anselm just rolled a 1. Let's see. He's got a 3 +2. That's a 5. So, yes, he has position. All right. So, since he has position, I believe those with position, ships in a space battle can only attack those targets in equal or lower position to themselves, right? Ship with better position may choose when to take its turn before or after its opponents. So I'm going to say that since Ren has better position, he is going to take the action first. So the Anastasia does come winging in behind the Huanaren. Why am I struggling so much to remember that? Ren does come in behind the Huanaren, and they do have the beam laser powered up. I'm going to say that they do shoot across the bow. They are trying to get their attention. That's exactly what they're trying to do. I am going to have him, the gunner, to roll. Basically to see if he rolls a critical failure and ends up hitting the Huanaren instead of just doing a shot across the bow. So, gunnery of 1. Let's look up gunner actions. Fire energy weapons. Gunnery, dexterity, 8 or better to hit. So, he is not trying to hit, but does he hit anyway? So, let's see. There's going to be 2 dice. And let's see. And, ooh. Okay, no, he does not. They just do fire a shot across the bow. And it is now Anselm's turn. Can he try to get away? He is going to try evasive maneuvers. He can do an emergency jump. If they were in space, he might try an emergency jump. They are within the atmosphere, and I think, if I remember correctly, those of you who are aficionados with Classic Traveler, you can correct me down in the comments if I'm wrong with this, but I don't think you can do a jump in the atmosphere because I think it's bad things happen. To define bad things, like you ignite the atmosphere. I might be overstating that, but I don't think you can make a jump in the atmosphere for a reason, for reasons. So, can he, let's see, evasive maneuvers would be a negative to the other pilot's skill. Disengage would be to get away from combat. So, let's see. They would have to roll. The quarry escapes immediately if it wins the opposed throw. So I feel like that is what Anselm is going to try to do. He wants to disengage and just get away from here. He doesn't want to get into a battle in the airspace of Hesia Prime, because that's going to attract attention. I got to believe some planetary patrol is going to come when this happens. So he wants to get out of here if he can. Can he do it? So let's see. So he's using his pilot action to throw a piloting dex row, opposed skill row versus the pursuer's piloting dex. So Anselm would roll a d6. I think we've said that the piloting of +1, but his dexterity of -1 cancel each other out. And Ren has a +1 pilot, and again a +1 for his dexterity. So he'd have a +2. So, possible. I'm going to say this is what Anselm tries to do. He does try to get away, because I think that's really all he can do. So this is going to be Anselm first. Anselm tries some fancy flying, and a 9. Not too shabby, not too shabby. Can Ren match or beat that? And I believe he has to... he gains advantage as well, which means he gets to roll, I believe, 3 dice, use the 2 of the better ones. All right, so, with a +2, Ren in better position. Okay, well, that's going to be 9, +2 is going to be an 11, so yes. Ren, Anselm pulls out every trick he knows in flying, trying to get away from the Anastasia, but he cannot do it. Ren is right on his tail. Every zig, every zag, every loop-de-loop, everything he does, Ren is right on him. I'm going to say at this point then, this is when they do get the notification that a communication is coming through. There is somebody trying to hail them from the other ship, which Anselm will tell Captain Wagner. Captain, the other ship is hailing us. And Captain Wagner says, "Very well, Mr. Darius, open up a channel." And the channel is open, and we hear the voice of Ren saying, "Hello there, this is Captain Ren of the Anastasia." I kind of feel like Anselm knows exactly who this is when Captain says Ren and he says the Anastasia. Anselm goes a little white again, goes a little pale, knowing exactly, not happy that he's met these people again. Captain Ren says, "I'm sorry for any problems we've caused you, or any slight of anxiety. We just wanted to get your attention because we have really interested in saying hello to an old friend of ours who is on your crew." And Captain Wagner says, "Indeed, really, and exactly which of my crew has so motivated you to go to such lengths to say hello?" And Ren says, Well, it's me old companion, Anselm.
I know he's there somewhere. If I was a betting man, I'd say he's probably the pilot of your ship right now, isn't he? Anselm, are you there? Are you within earshot there, are you, lad?
And Anselm responds, yes, Captain Wren. I must confess I'm a little surprised to hear from you again.
I'm sure you are, lad. I'm sure you are. I was very surprised when I saw you back there at that trade depot. Oh, you can't imagine the laugh me and the crew had when we saw you there. Oh, by strange coincidence, there's another friend of yours who'd like to say hello.
And a little bit of a pause, a little crackle on the line. And Anselm hears a voice that he recalls very, very well, saying, "Why, hello there, Anselm. My goodness, it has been such a long time since I've been able to speak to you directly. Oh dear, no, so much has happened since the last time we were together. I can only imagine that you have quite a few tales to tell. You're no longer in command of the Raven. You're a pilot on this trade vessel. Oh, I'm sure there's quite a tale behind that. I would love to hit it. In fact, I would love to hit it right now. If you would land your ship and perhaps be so good as to join us here on the Anastasia. Oh, there are many, many things we must discuss, Anselm." Anselm gets a little nervous. He says, "Simon, hello. I'm very surprised to hear you again, and you're on the Anastasia, which is a double surprise." "Yes, isn't it? Yes, of course. The last time we parted company, we were both in dire straits, shall we say? Well, of course, that is part of the tale I must tell. If you would be so good, Captain, to have Anselm land somewhere close by, and of course we can have Anselm join us, and we can all go about our merry way." I'm gonna say Anselm says, "Simon, give us just a moment." Of course. Anselm does turn off the comms, and he says, "Captain, I know these individuals. I actually had Simon as a patron for a while. He had me do a few jobs. We ran into some legal problems, and we were released, but, I don't know what happened with him. He apparently wants me to join him." And Captain Wagner says, "Really? Does he also have certain abilities?" No. He is not one of those. No. It's a whole different set of circumstances. And Captain Wagner says, "Yes, I see. Well, do you feel you're in any danger if you go with these two individuals?" Does Anselm feel like he's in danger? I don't think Anselm really trusts Simon or Wren. Definitely not Wren, maybe not Simon. But I don't know that Anselm feels like he's in danger. I don't think he does. He does say, he says, Captain, I don't think I'm in danger. I don't know. I know that there is something specific that Simon wants me to help him do. There is a certain mission he wants me to help him with. But as far as danger, I don't know. Captain Wagner does kind of stroke his chin, he says, "Well, I must be honest, Anselm, these people have shown they're very serious about having you back on their crew, and of course I must keep the safety of my crew and the profit we're going to get in share above all, so I believe I do need to ask you to land and join their crew. We will be sorry to see you go, and I wish you well. I hope nothing untoward happens to you." Anselm says, "I understand entirely, Captain," and he does turn the communications back on. And Captain Wagner will say, "Very well, Captain Wren, we shall land," and he gives him some coordinates. "We shall land there, we shall make the transfer, and of course then I believe we both can be on our way without further altercation or incident." And Wren will say, "Grand, I'm lovely to hear you say that. Of course, Captain, yes, I shall be right behind you. We shall land there, we'll make the transfer, and of course we'll be happy to let you go upon your way, and we shall go upon ours." And I'm going to just say that is what happens. Actually, no, I should roll. That's our expected scene. So that's the end of that scene, and really, I should change our chaos factor, because you're supposed to do that at the end of every scene. So let's do that. Let's change our chaos factor. I'm going to say that bumps back up to 7. I think that's pretty obvious. So we do have our chaos factor back up to 7. All right. So our next scene is they do land, and Anselm gets, he has no belongings. So he gets off of the Juanerin, and he gets onto the Anastasia. But we have to test that scene to see if that's exactly what happens. So let's try again. So we do need to test that scene. So let's see. And we roll a 10 again. So, no, it is not an altered or an interrupted scene. That is exactly what happened. So, they do land at the coordinates they agreed on. Anselm gets off. He says goodbye to the Huanaren. He says goodbye to Captain Wagner. Captain Wagner says, don't forget, Anselm, if there's Captain Darius, if there's ever time when you do need sudden transportation for precious cargo, please keep me in mind. He says, I will. Thank you, Captain. And he does go over, he, being Anselm, does go over to the Anastasia. All right. And I still have the card for the Anastasia crew members. So that's good. He gets on the Anastasia. The Anastasia is a bit of I'm going to say it's a bit sketchy. As a matter of fact, well, you know what? We've got random tables here. Why don't we use some random tables to describe the Anastasia? We have just regular descriptors. I don't think... Well, let's see. Is there any other descriptors of a conveyance like this? We have creature. We have civilization and dungeons. Magic items. What else do we have? Let's see. Noble house. Scavenging. Starship descriptors. Right here, page 214 in the Mythic GM Emulator 2nd edition. All right. So what are our descriptors of the Anastasia? Well, let's see. Let's roll a couple of these. First of all, a 19. It is control. Control. Okay. Interesting. And 06. Beautiful. Okay. Control and beautiful. Control. Beautiful control. Beautiful control? Control. Beautiful control. I sort of get the feeling that beautiful means that this ship, you would never know it is a pirate ship because it is in pristine condition. Everything is as clean as you can get it. There are no blaster marks. There is no grunge in the corners. There is no what you might find in any kind of vehicle that's been around for as long as this one has. How old is the Anastasia? Let's roll a d6. How old is this ship? It's a 50-year-old ship. So I'm going to say at this point it has been paid off, I think. I think at this point it could be paid off. I'm going to say it is. It's paid off. Ren has paid it off. It is a beautiful ship. But control means I think that Ren has an iron fist. Ren is a captain who says what he wants one time and you do it, and if not, bad things happen to you. So I'm going to say he is very much a controlled sort of guy. Everything begins and ends with Ren as the captain. So Anselm does get on the Anastasia. He is amazed at how spotless and how pristine it is. As soon as he gets on, I see Simon coming right up to him. Anselm, Anselm, may I say what a pleasure it is to see you again. When we parted ways back there in Zorasian custody, I despaired ever seeing you again, my long-time companion, and one might say, employee? Anselm says, yes, Simon, I have to say, I am surprised to see you again. I'm glad to see that you apparently got away from the Zorasians. What happened? And, well, let's have a moment, let's have some refreshments. And they do go to the galley. They sit down. They make some pleasantries. Anselm is really not into it. Oh, Anselm, would you like any tea? Can I get you a bag of crisps? After a while, he does find out sort of what happened to Simon, because we know from things we rolled before that Simon was trying to get to the Zorasian, first planet of the Zorasian system, to find this mind control device in this crashed survey ship. They were taken into custody. Simon was kept a little longer than Anselm. Anselm does tell Simon, he says, look, Simon, I can only imagine what you want me for. I'm pretty sure I know what you want me to do. But look, I have been told not to go back to Zorasia, that if I go back, things are going to go bad for me. And Simon says, I was told much the same, Anselm. I believe we are on the birds of a feather in that respect. However, you do not expect such a paltry little pronouncement from a insignificant little planetary authority to stop me from finding this absolute gem of a device that is just lying there waiting for us. And Anselm says, yeah, I think maybe that is why we shouldn't go, because they will be, surely by now they've increased security.
And if you remember earlier, we did roll that they don't have just the satellites or stuff monitoring. Now they actually have patrols that are going around the planet. So Simon will tell them that, oh, it is more than that, Anselm. Now they actually have patrols, actually fighters that sweep the area for quite a while. They have a ship that is monitoring that fascinating rift that we both found. I think Simon will sort of play at that, because we know that Anselm does want to know why was there life in the ravine. That is one of our threads. And so I think he will do a little bit of a carrot and stick. He will say, Anselm, I must say, I know that you are burning with curiosity with your scout background. Exactly why is there life in a blasted hot planet like that? Why, of all places in this ravine, do we find lush vegetation and a wide variety of life forms? I know, being a scout, your curiosity is more than piqued. It is probably burning within inside you. And now I believe we have a way we can go back and you can answer those questions. I believe Simon's also going to use a little bit of the stick and say, during the conversation, you know, Anselm, I spent not a small insignificant amount of money to refurbish the Raven, the scout ship, the property of the Imperials. I believe at this point, both they and you owe me. I think Anselm realizes that there's no way he's going to get out of here. I think Anselm realizes that he's kind of at the mercy of Ren and Simon. So he does say, okay, look, if you know that there are patrols going around the planet, and you know that we're both not supposed to be there, how do you propose that we get there and find this thing? How do we get into the ravine to begin with? And Simon says, well, Captain Ren and I do have a plan. And that's all the time we have for today. I know, that's cheap. Hope you enjoy this. What is the plan that Simon has come up with to get himself and Anselm and probably some of the Anastasia crew to this ravine? Will they find the mind control device? Will I actually get to finish using that area location? What am I trying to say? That thing in the Mythic magazine where you can sort of randomly create locations as you're exploring them. We shall find out next time. Real quick, as an aside, I did mention last time I would put some information about this subsector, the map, and information about the planets. You should see, if you look down in the description, you should see a link. Check that out, look at that, follow along as we do the Adventures of Anselm. Have any questions, happy to answer those. But other than that, I will see you next time.